Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from simpleprogrammer.com. So I did this video about fixing your own life before you try to fix other people's lives. You can check it out here, and you might want to check it out because I'm going to be talking about that video. As always, you can always use the cards, click the I if you're on a mobile, or actually on anything now because we don't have annotations, and the links are always in the description below. As well, I link to a lot of videos because I like to refer to things, to branch out. I'm like, my YouTube videos are sort of like the World Wide Web of YouTube videos. They branch out to all the other YouTube videos I do. Anyway, on this video, okay, I got a comment. I got a couple of different comments on it. And I got this comment from Clinton. I'm gonna butcher his name, but I'm gonna say Billedou because it looks French to me. It's like D-E-A-U-X. Pretty cool guy, actually. And he actually made some really good comments here. And he actually got under my skin a little bit because I'm like, whatever, and I want to ignore this. But then I got to this point where I realized, okay, what he's saying actually makes a lot of sense. And perhaps I'm not communicating the message that I want to. And perhaps I'm a little bit wrong here in the original message that I communicated. And I need to set the record straight as I think on this some more, which is great. I mean, I love sometimes when you guys challenge me, and it's because you've got an idea, right? Or something I'm saying. It's not necessarily that I say something that I didn't intend to say, because in this case, he was like, no, I get exactly what you're trying to say. And he's like, but this is what it implies. So this is kind of cool. I appreciate that, but it gives us a chance to to think about these things and to dialogue on this more. Sometimes I've thought about something and then okay, I've shut the book on it, but that's not it, right? I need to think about this and ruminate on this more and really have a little bit more introspection on some of these ideas. And this is the evolution. This is where you go, right? Is you should not just come to opinions and conclusions on things and then that's the end of it, right? You should always be willing to contradict yourself, revise yourself, and not see that as a bad thing, but see that as growth, because that's what growth is. So anyway, Clinton got under my skin a little bit here. He basically said, how can I wait until I'm perfect before I go out and coach? And I thought, okay, that's kind of interesting. And then, he talked about this idea. He said that John's proud of polarizing things, so it seems like that's what he's trying to do here, and he's taken offense to the exclusionary nature of what I said. And really, I think what's triggering Clinton in this case, which makes sense, is the whole fatty thing, right? Of me saying, okay, well, if you're overweight and you're not in good shape, if you're fat, then you can't possibly be coaching or teaching other people, right? And it's just one of those things that, like, there's definitely caused a negative reaction for some people, and I totally get and understand that, but I'm not going to I'm not going to water down the message based on that just because I know that may cause a negative reaction. But now hold your horses here. We're going to get into the meat, and we're going to actually discuss what I'm talking about here. So he goes on and he basically says, I'm not going to wait until I'm perfect to coach those that I can help. And he uses the word perfect multiple times here. And he says, he's not going to give fitness advice and whatnot, but he says that, I'm going to he says, sorry, Uncle Bob, I don't need your clean coat advice because you're a little chubby and you have crooked teeth. And so I went on to talk about how there's a difference between motivational coaching and mentoring and teaching. And he said that, it looks like you think that I'm not understanding you, but this is basically what you're saying. He's saying, let me summarize it. He actually put it pretty well. He said, if you're a lard ass, don't be shocked that you have difficulty inspiring others, but do continue working on yourself so that you can be an inspirational motivator. And I said, yeah, you have it exactly. But then he replied to this, and this is what got me here, is he said, how can I not tell people that poverty, the state of my first 34 years of life, is escapable, and what I did to escape it and get a job with GE Digital simply because I'm an unattractive fatty? So, there's definitely some confidence issues and some insecurities here, right? I'm just to be bluntly honest. I do think that Clinton is a cool guy, and I appreciate him addressing this. So I think that there's definitely that there, but I also think there's a lot of truth to what he's saying when he's saying, how can I be perfect before I can go out and coach and help people? And that's what I really want to talk about and that's where I made a little bit of a faux pas, is maybe I communicated that message, and that's not quite the correct message, right? So, thinking about this a little bit more, what is the truth here, right? Is it that polarizing extreme that I initially presented, saying, hey, if you're not in good shape, then you can't be a motivational speaker and you can't help people, right? Which isn't exactly what I said, but to some degree, right? I mean, he summarized it when he said, the whole fatty thing. Or is it that you can just go out and coach people regardless of what you look like or have accomplished in life? And what I think it is this, right? I think that there's a combination of both. So there's some real truth to saying that, I mean, if you want to motivate people and you want to inspire people and you want to motivate people in their lives to overcome their challenges, to motivational, right? To actually like accomplish the things that they want to accomplish. If you have major areas in your life that you're struggling with, that you're not making progress on, that you're repeatedly not able to conquer yourself, it is not going to be the most strong message, and perhaps you should redirect some of that outward energy inward to working on those things first, because you'll be more effective, right? Now, am I perfect? Hell no, right? Have I started teaching before I advanced where I did advance? Of course I did, right? But here's the thing. I'm still in the process of changing. I'm devoting just as much energy inward as I am outward, if that makes sense to you, right? So I'm not ignoring, there's nothing that I'm saying, like I'm not accepting bad things about myself and not being willing to work on them or adapt them or change them. Again, I'm not saying don't accept yourself. You have to accept yourself where you are, but I'm constantly on that path to growth. But if you're just overweight and you've been struggling with your weight and you say, well, I'm just a fatty and that's how it is, and I'm just gonna preach to other people how they can be motivated and overcome their dreams or reach their dreams and overcome their challenges, but I'm not overcoming my own challenge in life, well, that's a big fucking problem. That to me that is, because it's very hypocritical and it does not send the right message, and it's not going to be very effective. But at the same time, right? You take Clinton here, right? Should he be telling people about how to get out of poverty and how he spent the first 34 years of his life and his story, and that it is escapable and what he did to escape it? Of course, right? There's no reason to not tell that message. I'm just saying, like, don't go out and become a professional motivational speaker, right? And that's my initial video was more geared towards that. It's to say that there's people out here that I watch that are on stages that are trying to make a living as a life coach or professional motivational speaker, and they're out of shape. They don't look good, right? I'm not saying you have to look super modelish. I'm not saying you have to have the extreme kind of level of fitness that I desire to have myself, but I am saying that if you're struggling with your weight and you're overweight and you got a bunch of addictions and you got a bunch of problems yourself, you shouldn't make your profession teaching people how to overcome that and how to conquer their own demons and problems in life, right? Because it's really just not, it's like that effort should be spent on fixing yourself, right? Not that you can't do both at the same time, again, like I'm saying here, but my point is that like it just doesn't make sense. Again, and this is more of a call than more of what I'm saying to, probably doesn't apply to most of you, but it does if you have that aspiration, right? If you're going to go out there and you're going to inspire other people, right? And I'm holding myself to this standard, right? Sometimes I don't feel like doing the fucking shit that I do, okay? And I think that I did this video on I Do It For You. You can check that one out if that one's out by now. And in that video, I talk about this idea that like there's a lot of stuff I'm doing that I'm setting the bar, I'm setting the standard really high, and I'm living up to that standard simply to inspire you, because I have to do it first. I have to eat my own dog food, right? The idea that the leader has to do it first. And that's all I'm saying here. That's all what I'm saying here, Clinton, is that like if you're going to take people down a path, and it's not just fitness, right? It's about a real motivational, like conquering your demons, like breaking through your barriers, right? If that's your calling, right? Then you gotta go down that path first, right? And it could be that you're not there yet, right? That's totally fine. But maybe you should spend some time in cocoon mode in getting there so that you can come out to the world and show that you've overcome it. Again, this message is also to a lot of those, young kids, 18-year-olds, 17-year-old kids. I know a lot of you want to inspire people and you want to be a motivational speaker and you want to do some of the stuff that I'm doing on YouTube, but you don't have life yet. You don't have wisdom yet because you haven't lived your life. I'm not saying you're not going to get that. It's great, and you will, right? I mean, some of you have gotten it early, right? But for the most part, without that, without having actually accomplished things, without having actually gone through struggles and fights and the war that it requires to master yourself, you don't have much to offer. You don't have much to talk about yet. You'll get there, but you don't have it yet. And it's not to offend you. It's not to be like make you feel bad about being fat. It's none of that. It's just to say that, look, I mean, and even here, right? You just take my story. I went through a lot of shit, right? I mean, part of the reason why some of you guys are watching this channel is like, oh yeah, John used to be the super shy guy, and he used to be not be able to speak well in front of a camera, and he used to he used to be lazy, right? I used to be lazy, as I've said before, right? And I used to be overweight. I had problems with fitness, and I had problems with addictions, and I had problems with all kinds of things and fears, right? I mean, hell, did you see my video on my panic attack and fears? And I overcame all that stuff, and I figured it out, and I built a business, and I had a bunch of successes in life, and now I'm sharing with you because I want you to be more successful than me quicker than I am, right? I'm older, okay? I'm not 20 years old, but if you're 20 and you're watching this and you're seeing from all of my failures and experiences, right, then maybe you can overcome those things quicker, and maybe you can go on and inspire people as you reach the next level challenges, the challenges that I didn't get to yet because I didn't have that shortcut, right? I mean, you're learning calculus in middle school, whereas way back hundreds of years ago, like that was like the most advanced thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can tackle harder problems. And that's the whole idea. So I'll say one more thing, Clinton, here, which is this, is that to answer your thing of should you tell your story and share your story, and should you wait till you're perfect before you could coach? No, obviously not, right? I mean, if you have a story, right, and I've interviewed people that are not in perfect shape on this channel and asked them to tell their story because it's inspiring, because it does inspire people. So, but that's not their life purpose. That's not they're not starting a business doing that. If you're going to start a business that is going, and you're going to take money to actually help and coach people in a motivational way, you better have a lot of your shit together. You better be ready to be examined from every angle. And it doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but that's what I'm saying. But in your case, Clinton, hell, tell your story. Yes, inspire people. Yes, tell them how to get out of their financial problems and how to become programmers. That's great. That's all technical based kind of knowledge. I mean, there's some soft skills knowledge in there, but it's not the same thing as going out and being a motivational speaker. And it doesn't sound like you have the desire to do that. I'm certainly not telling you not to share what you've learned and what you know. Obviously do that. Obviously inspire people. Obviously help people. I'm not saying keep your mouth shut unless you're perfect. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is that is two things here. One, if you want to make it your main thing in profession, you're going to have a higher standard. That's the standard I'm looking at. I'm like, fuck you if you're going to try and tell me how to live my life. If you're not living, you better be fucking flying high, right? Don't tell me how to fly, right? If you're not flying. If you're flying, then yeah, right? And that goes again with whatever area in life, but in life in general, right? If you're going to be at the kind of the higher level and tell people how to live their lives, I hold myself to a really fucking high standard, and there's a reason for it, right? And then the second thing I'd say to you is, and quite honestly, why the fuck are you making, great, what you said, granted, I addressed it, and I hope that, that you've seen that you've actually made an impact, because you have, but here's the thing, stop making fucking excuses for being fat, right? I mean, this is maybe another side note, but look, this is a problem, fucking work on it, right? There's no reason why you shouldn't be working on this at this point, right? You can figure this out. You can do this, right? There's so many people, and this is, again, I'm going on a little bit of tangent here, but for all of you that were offended by my initial video because you're a fatty, Big fucking deal. I'm not saying something that you don't already know. I'm not saying something that isn't obvious when people watch you and look at you. I've been a fatty before. I've been worse than that as far as fat. I'm just saying, like, look, there's so many of you that are like getting all offended by that and upset because it's reality and you don't want to face reality and you don't want to address the shit that you need to address. I'm just telling you, like, why would you ever not address that, right? And if you can't address that, work on that, right? Because I know it's great to help other people, but if you are like, if you have something that you are struggling with in your life constantly and you're never able to conquer that thing, then you got to devote as much energy as possible to that before you go out and spread the message. It's not going to be as effective, right, in whatever you're doing, right? And I know that I'm almost backtracking on my words here. But again, I'm not saying don't go and tell your message and whatnot. I'm just saying that from your own personal perspective, if you are struggling with this, fix it. Don't make excuses. Don't say, "Oh, well, I could do this in spite of that." Yeah, that's sure. That's right. You could run a race with a broken leg. Fine, but why not get the fucking leg fixed first and then run the race? You could do it, sure, I agree, you could do it. But will you not be more effective? Will you have less pain? Will you feel better and more confident about yourself? You know, will you be able to deliver your message better if you have your leg fixed before you run the race? That's all I'm saying, okay? It doesn't, not perfect, it's just if there's a glaring deficiency, work on fixing that. That's all that I'm saying here. But good, I mean, good dialogue. I mean, again, I don't want to say, again, that I'm shutting the book on this subject. I'm just, you know, where I would leave it at, as far as what I'm saying is this. If you want to be a professional motivator, right? If your profession is going to be, like I've made mine, into motivating people and coaching people in their lives, right? In their lives, a bigger scope of it, you better have a lot of your shit together and you better be working on it because you have to be flying higher than them. You have to be. Otherwise, what you're saying is bullshit and people will know it and it won't be effective. And it's a waste of time because that time could be spent on actually fixing this stuff on your own life, right? You can't go out and help, put the oxygen mask on your own face before reaching over and putting on someone else's. If you need oxygen bad, get the fucking oxygen first, then let's go ahead and do it. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're in the need of the oxygen, get that first. Then you can help others better. That's all I gotta say about that. All right. If you like this video, if you haven't subscribed already, click the subscribe button below. I will talk to you next time and take care.